A bill for an act relating to carrying and possessing weapons and acquiring pistols and revolvers, including penalties and applicable provisions. With this, we have, as far as an open, we have Aaron Dorr with Iowa Gun Owners, Larry Pratt with Gun Owners of America. I'd like to start there because it's hard to have a debate or an exchange of ideas until you have the premise laid on the table. So with that, would either of you, I'll let you choose.
I'll start.
Would you use the microphone, please?
I forgot. Don't yank it, right?
And they do pick up voice from a couple feet away. They're pretty good.
Is that close enough? All right. Well, thank you, Senator Schultz and members of the subcommittee for a chance to talk about this bill, Senate File 2106. There's a lot of miscommunication about what constitutional carry law actually means. And a lot of folks may be confused or not know what we're talking about. I'm just going to kind of break it down in kind of a layman's terms and perspective. Constitutional carry very simply means that if you are legally allowed to own and possess firearms today in Iowa, you can legally carry that firearm with no additional government interference. You're not having to add your name to a government database or pay fees to exercise that right. That's constitutional carry. That's it. What constitutional carry is not is perhaps more important than what it is. Constitutional carry is not the end of all gun laws here in Iowa. We've heard lots of people in the Senate who've gotten phone calls about how this is going to give guns to felons, to those who are mentally adjudicated, mentally defective. Nothing about constitutional carry law eliminates or alters the current laws that we have on the books. It simply says that if you are law-abiding, you may possess and carry that firearm with no additional restrictions. It does not also invalidate the current shell-issue system. So unlike, so in other words, if you have a permit and you want to keep your permit, you can keep your permit. We're not going to affect shell-issue law at all. We simply make it optional, again, for those who are law-abiding and meet the criteria currently established in the code. Perhaps most important of all, though, constitutional carry is often accused of leading to increasing violence, bloodshed in the streets. I think it's kind of established now in Iowa that this has been kind of the most tired mantra we've heard for a decade as Iowans have expanded gun rights freedom since 2010. When we passed shell issue legislation in 2010 as an outworking of our original push on constitutional carry, we were told to expect all kinds of dreadful things. We were told that we were going to have, and when sheriffs lost the right to deny somebody a permit, that we'd see bedlam. And what we've gone is from approximately 28,000, give or take, permit holders at that time to now approaching 300,000 permit holders here in Iowa. And I believe we see no increase in violence, certainly tied to those with a concealed carry permit. I know for years as we fought to advance standard ground law, which of course, as you guys all know, took effect in 2017, we were told the same thing. If Iowans don't have to retreat in the face of a violent criminal situation before they can use defensive action, we were going to see, duels on Main Street. And of course, this bill has been on law now since July 1st of last year. I've seen, heard nothing of any kind of abuses of shell issue or standard ground law either. I think it's important to note that 13 states already have this law on the books. I think that if we're going to see some kind of an increase in violence, it might have started in the other 13 states that have already put this law into play. The list of those states includes Missouri, who enacted this in 2016, Kansas in 2015, Alaska, Vermont, Wyoming, Arkansas, Idaho, Maine, Mississippi, West Virginia, North Dakota, New Hampshire, and Arizona are all currently constitutional carry states where permits are optional for law-abiding citizens. These are not the states where we're seeing increases in violent crime, because law-abiding citizens are by definition the ones who are obeying the law. They're not the ones who are out there attacking people, trying to commit crimes. That's why they're law-abiding citizens. And so these are not people who are going to be affected by this bill. I think it's ironic that we have people with Michael Bloomberg's organization. We have folks here from, not here today perhaps, but who are declared on the bill opposed to this, who come in from 1,000 miles away to tell Iowans how much Second Amendment freedom that they can enjoy. These are the very people that have paid bodyguards, that have people who take care of them with firearms. Here in Iowa, I think Iowans have spoken very loudly on this. Over the last couple of years, we've seen, election after election, where we've seen prior members of the Senate who have held this bill and standard ground law back that have been replaced by gun owners who were who are tired of seeing Iowa kind of fall to the rear. They're one of the last states in the nation to enact a shall issue in 2010, the 36th state to enact a stand your ground law, I believe, last year. And now with 13 states already moving this law on the books, we simply ask on behalf of the members of our organization that you guys advance this bill as is, and I stand by for any questions.